Ministry of Health and the health sector professional bodies have signed an MOU for various allowances and other incentives.
Presidential Task Force secures life insurance cover for 5,000 health workers in the front line against COVID-19. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo leads team of ministers to formulate sustainability plan for Nigerian economy in the face of COVID-19.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ramadan with a difference. Muslim faithful begin the annual 30-day Ramadan fast amid global coronavirus spread.
Social distancing is very important. We have done that many times. And, sometimes people are adamant. But gradually, they are understanding our message.
Plus, traditional rulers champion campaigns against COVID-19 spread in their domain. A warm welcome to you at the news at 9. I am Juma Yusuf. On board this ship with me tonight is Michael Olale in Lagos. Ramadan Kareem to all our Muslim faithful. May Allah see us through these trying times. And thanks for joining us. Following the sighting of the Ramadan crescent, President Muhammadu Buhari sends his best wishes to Muslims in the country and all over the world as they begin this year's month-long fasting. A statement from the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, quoted the President Buhari congratulating all Muslims as they commence this year's Ramadan fast, which is depicted by self-denial, universal brotherhood, austerity and helping relatives and needy people. The President described Ramadan 2020 as a challenge as it is coming at a period of the global pandemic, which has spread to virtually all countries, advising citizens to avoid large gatherings and have their prayers and feasts individually or family at home. President Buhari urged Muslims to endure and not to use coronavirus as an excuse not to participate in the Ramadan fast unless such abstention is warranted by the excuses clearly outlined by health and religious authorities. Muslim faithful have been enjoined to use the holy month of Ramadan to seek God's divine intervention to the ravaging coronavirus pandemic. During India, have a compilation of messages from some notable Nigerians.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ramadan, the ninth month of the Islamic calendar, is observed by Muslim faithful with fasting as one of the 5 pillars of Islam. For the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, this year's Ramadan came at the most unusual time when mankind is contending with an existential threat in the form of the deadly COVID-19 that has shut down the economy and entire social life throughout the world. While urging Muslims to abide by the stipulated guidelines, the Senate President assured them of the government intervention to their plight. The Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, has also congratulated Muslims on the peaceful entry into the month of Ramadan, describing the period as a time of sober reflection and a time to get closer to the Supreme Creator. The Speaker encouraged them to be their brother's keeper, including non-Muslims among them, adding that Muslims should pray for peace, progress and unity of the country, as well as an end to the coronavirus pandemic. Similarly, the chairman North Central Governors Forum and Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello encouraged Muslims to pray for peace and end to the coronavirus pandemic. Governor Sani Bello reminded them on the need to show empathy, piety, alms given to the less privileged and most vulnerable without discrimination. The All Progressives Congress APC has also felicitated with Muslim Ummah on the sighting of the moon and commencement of the Ramadan fast. The APC says while government continue to scale up on the palliatives to support the various segments of the society, it is important for the people to pull themselves along during this period. In the same vein, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has urged Nigerians to use the period of Ramadan to pray fervently for the nation as well as instill acts of self-restraint as commanded by the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In Abuja, Tui, Dia, NTA News.
Muslims across the world have begun the annual 30-day Ramadan fast, but this year they are witnessing a Ramadan with a difference. In this report, correspondent Musbaud and Wahab highlights the peculiarities in this Ramadan on the lockdown.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Call to prayer from the Islam holiest temple, the Grand Mosque in Saudi Arabia. It went wide and many heard it, but only the ranking leaders could yield to the call. Not even the usual hundreds of thousands of people who come circumambulating the cube-shaped Kaaba are around. It's a situation the global reality has dawned on places of worship around the world. A reality brought closer home. The National Mosque, Abuja, is deserted. It beats imagination, but that is the reality staring at Muslims in the face as this year's Ramadan fast begins.
Ramadan is prescribed upon all the believers, Muslims, the followers of the Prophet Muhammad, as it was prescribed upon those people before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
As sacred and expected as the holy month is, the usual excitement with which it is received is being corroded by coronavirus. Following suspension of Jumat services, public lectures, common breaking of fast, and other gatherings are part of what Muslims would miss in this Ramadan. It is an imminent caution that His Eminence Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has declared on the platform of Jamaatul Nasirul Islam. Similarly, the call for caution is unfortunately overwhelming cause for religious obligation, and the search for solution to the common enemy has beclouded the search for the crescent. Though the crescent of Ramadan is cited, signaling the beginning of this year's fasting, a Ramadan with difference, as the feasting in group to unite the Ummah will not take place. The voluntary prayers after the break of fast will not be there. The night prayers to seek emancipation from hell will not be there. The seclusion in the last 10 days of the month in search of a night of majesty will not be there. One thing will, however, be there: faith and believe that Allah will accept whatever is done in His cause, as He alone has the power to heal the world of a pandemic that has held it captive. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Preaching the message of the Quran, otherwise called tafsir, is one of the features that enhances the spiritual essence of the holy month of Ramadan. The realities of the moment occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic have made observance of this spiritual duty impossible. Major Ma Adamu files in this report on Ramadan without tafsir in Kaduna.
This is Sultan Bello Mosque, Kaduna. This mosque for several decades served the spiritual purpose of millions of Muslims who converge physically at the mosque or stay tuned to their radio and television sets as humble audience with the messages of Allah from scholars through their explanation of the Holy Quran, popularly known as tafsir. This tradition that has been a spectacular feature of Ramadan for decades has, like many other established traditions, been halted this season by the imperative of social distancing necessitated by the coronavirus pandemic. Sheikh Airu Bauchi Mosque, also in Kaduna, shares similar destiny with the Sultan Bello Mosque in terms of delivery of spiritual guidance to worshippers through Ramadan Tafsir, a spiritual practice that must wait for another Ramadan season.
This is a time of emergency. It is a special time which we really play the game according to the rules, and we should really be careful of these big congregations. We must practice this social distancing.
We are going to utilize this month of Ramadan, especially in this situation, critical situation that we are witnessing.
As the global Islamic community observed this year's Ramadan fast amidst uncommon restrictions that demand sacrifices, the common prayer on the tongues of the Muslims is never again for experience like this. In Kaduna, Maijama Adamu, NTA News.
To other stories now, Nigerians have applauded the appointment of President Muhammadu Buhari as the champion of COVID-19 response in the ECOWAS sub-region. Let's join Adebola Brooks and Sunday for these and all the updates on coronavirus pandemic.
The ECOWAS sub-region has 6,183 confirmed cases, 158 deaths and 1,814 recoveries. Out of this number, Nigeria accounts for 981 cases, 197 recoveries and 31 deaths. The appointment of President Buhari as the champion of the fight against coronavirus in the ECOWAS sub-region is attributed to the success of efforts towards curtailing COVID-19 in the country and Nigeria's big brother roles in the sub-region.
The president was quite in order, and I believe that if his speech and his recommendations are strictly adhered to by his brother presidents from the West African sub-region, we would be able to have negative minimal impact of this COVID-19. And it is quite important for all the countries, 15 countries, to start thinking about what are the opportunities even within this period of sadness, this period of death, this period of pandemic, because you can still make something pleasant out of it.
Meanwhile, as at 11:30 p.m. 23rd April Nigerian time, the breakdown of confirmed cases in Nigeria shows Lagos 582, FCT 133, Kano 73, Ogun 29, Katsina 21, Osun 20, Oyo 17, Edo 17, Borno 12, Kwara 11, Akwa Ibom 11, Kaduna 9, Gombe 9, Bauchi 8, Delta 6, Ekiti 4, Edo 3, Rivers 3, Jigawa 2, Enugu 2, Niger 2, Abia 2, Benue 1, Anambra 1, Sokoto 1, Adamawa 1, and Plateau 1. Going global, tally from Johns Hopkins University at about 6:50 p.m. local time shows that 2,761,967 persons have been infected worldwide, out of which 193,217 have died, while 763,017 patients have recovered. I am Adebola Brooks Sunday.
Life insurance cover has been secured for 5,000 health workers who are in the front line of the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, disclosed this at the daily media briefing in Abuja. Mitere Ekmen reports.
More than 40 Nigerian health workers have tested positive for coronavirus in the last 2 weeks, according to the Minister of Health. At this critical stage of Nigeria's fight against the pandemic, the Presidential Task Force says it cannot afford a depletion of frontline workers, hence the move for incentives and insurance cover.
The premium in the sum of 112,500,000 has been fully paid by the Nigeria insurance industry in line with the principle of no premium, no cover. The Federal Ministry of Health and the health sector professional bodies have signed an MOU for various allowances and other incentives.
Salute your courage and patriotism, but I urge you to protect yourselves as prescribed and use your personal protective equipment judiciously.
President Buhari's appointment as champion of the fight against coronavirus by ECOWAS leaders was applauded as testament to Nigeria's leadership role.
The implication of this assignment is that the PTF must now factor the West African sub-region into its plans and activities to support Mr. President in his new role.
The federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Education, collaborating with the telecommunications sector and providers therein, have granted free access to all Nigerian students to the following e-learning portals: the schoolgate.ng and the mobileclassroom.com.ng apps.
The private sector was encouraged to support the fight against the raging pandemic and emulate the National Union of Textile and Garment Workers, which presented locally produced face masks for distribution to frontline workers.
We are going to start distributing to those category of people that I said they are less privileged. You can see the street sweepers. As early as 5:30, you see them sweeping the street for our own good, but yet they are not protected.
The task force believes food security is critical to managing the coronavirus pandemic and appeal to farmers to begin preparation in earnest for the next planting season. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
A bit on judicial matters, the National Judicial Council has set up a 10-man committee to work out urgent and practical measures by which the nation's court will continue to function despite the lockdown occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. This was one of the resolutions at the end of the council's meeting held by video conferencing in Abuja and chaired by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad. Judicial correspondent Femi Okoye reports.
The committee has as chairman Justice of the Supreme Court Olabode Rhodes-Vival. Already, the NJC has held its council meeting through video conferencing.
This is the first time the council as a whole is holding an online meeting. We've had course in the past to actually leverage on the ICT and similar platforms in discharging our constitutional responsibilities.
The committee is therefore expected to, within 14 days, come up with a template for the running of the court, even in the lockdown. The committee is also to explore areas of collaboration with the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation in this area. Also, as part of its resolution, the National Judicial Council recommended Justice Francis Abosi, Acting President, Customary Court of Appeal, Imo State, and Justice Aliu Musa Liman of Bauchi State High Court for compulsory retirement with immediate effect due to professional misconduct. The NJC Director of Information, Soji Oye, said in a statement that 70 judicial officers were also recommended for appointment in various categories. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court says work on the legal email platform for the nation's apex court is in progress to facilitate effective interaction between the parties that come before the court. The Supreme Court Director of Press and Information, Dr. Akonde Festus, said plans are ongoing to have relevant laws in place for the effective implementation of the policy. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
And condolence messages has continued to pour into the country as the United States government has described the late Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abakari, as a dedicated public servant. Ruth Agwele has the package.
In a condolence letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Tibor Nagy, eulogized the important role played by Kyari in the repatriation of over $300 million in funds stolen by former head of state, Sani Abacha. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Medium Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the U.S. government describes the late Abakari as a valued and respected intermediator for the U.S. government and particularly for their leadership team in Abuja. The U.S. Assistant Secretary noted that the late Kyari envisioned the funds going to 3 geographically disparate infrastructure projects as a way to unite Nigeria economically. This vision, encapsulated by the late Chief of Staff, was a reflection of his tireless championing of a solid and prosperous future for Nigeria. The statement emphasized his dedication to this matter, to fighting corruption, and to countless other investments and policies for the future of Nigeria will no doubt leave a lasting impact on the country. While commiserating with the government and people of Nigeria, the Kyari family and the loss, the U.S. government pledged to stand with Nigeria in the struggle against the coronavirus pandemic. Similarly, the president also received condolence messages from Usani Uguru Usani, former minister of Niger Delta, Alhaji Sabi Ubako, Kano-based businessman, and Bature Abdulaziz, a trade union leader. The Yoruba Unity Forum, the umbrella body for all Yoruba socio-cultural and political organizations in Nigeria, the group noted that the late Kyari was very strategic to the team put together by the president to ensure the pandemic is contained and vulnerable Nigerians are shielded from the economic impact of the lockdown. While commiserating with the good people of Nigeria and friends of late Abba Kyari, the group prayed to God to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest. In another condolence message, the Center for Crisis Communication deeply commiserates with President Muhammadu Buhari and the nation over the passing away of Malam Abba Kyari. The Executive Secretary, Air Commodore Yusuf Anas, retired, describes the late Chief of Staff as an introverted loyalist, a dedicated patriot, and a courageous administrator whose services will be greatly missed. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board is also deeply saddened to hear of the demise of Abba Kyari, the late Chief of Staff to the President. In a condolence letter to the President by the Executive Secretary, Simbi Kesiye Wabote, says Nigeria has lost a hard-working, dedicated and intellectual man who wanted the best for his country. He described the late Chief of Staff as a devoted Muslim, most unassuming and very easygoing gentleman. He prayed that God grant his family and the entire country the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. In another condolence letter to the President by the Industrial Training Fund, the Director General and Chief Executive, Sir Joseph Ari, condoled the President over the unfortunate passing of his late Chief of Staff, noting that Malam Kyari's death is a huge blow to all Nigerians and the Presidency, and he will be remembered for his fierce loyalty, uncommon patriotism, commitment, and his undying love for the country. He prayed to Allah for the repose of the departed and grant him the highest rank in Al-Jannat Firdaus. Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Most Reverend and Right Honourable Justin Welby, has written a condolence letter to President Muhammadu Buhari over the death of Malam Abba Kyari. Again, Ruth Aguela has a package.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Most Reverend and Right Honourable Justin Welby, in a letter to the President, says he recognises that the Chief of Staff is a role on which one depends more than almost any other. They need to be trusted and they need to be willing to have your interests most closely at heart. He says the fact that the President entrusted the late Abba Kyari with his messages to him and others demonstrates the faith the President had in him. He also emphasized that the death is a significant blow to not just the President, but the nation at large. The Archbishop also describes the late Abba Kyari as a remarkably intelligent and thoughtful man. While commiserating with the President, the Archbishop grieves the loss of any human being who have passed on from the terrible coronavirus pandemic, especially at the height of their powers and long before their due time.
The United Nations has been galvanizing appropriate global response to the coronavirus pandemic. President of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Professor Tijani Mohamed Bande, spoke about this on NTA's Current Affairs Program 101.
The influence of technology to deliver on certain things is becoming even clearer. And that is why my worry expressed earlier as to the necessity to help countries in relation to technology, because otherwise the inequality among nations can only deepen.
The full program will be broadcast tonight immediately after the network news at 10 p.m. All NTA stations are advised to stay on the network service. In furtherance of the work of the Economic Sustainability Committee, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo met with a group of ministers who were directed by President Muhammadu Buhari to jointly develop a comprehensive policy for a Nigerian economy functioning with COVID-19. President Buhari had asked that the Economic Sustainability Committee would support the said ministers in executing the directive. The meeting, chaired by the Vice President with relevant ministers, was designed to work out modalities on a comprehensive economic sustainability plan that will turn the current economic challenges into opportunities for the Nigerian people, as envisioned by the President. Laolu Akande, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President, said by next week the Economic Sustainability Committee would also be meeting with the Presidential Economic Advisory Council ahead of the completion and submission of its report to the President. This is the news at 9 on the NTA. Let's take our first break. More reports when we return. Don't go away. Do stay.
This is not a joke. It is a matter of life and death. Mosques in Mecca and Medina have been closed. The Pope celebrated Mass on an empty St. Peter's Square. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris held Easter Mass with less than 10 people. India, Italy, and France are in complete lockdown. Other countries are in the process of following suit. We cannot be lax.
Mama, Uncle Kim just called me. His wife just gave birth. Hey! If not be God, though, now who go do am? Now who go do am? I thank God. Boy or girl?
I was too excited to ask. Let me get my phone and call him. Mama, it's a... Mama, what's wrong?
So, I no fit see my grandpikin now as dem do obodo oyibo.
Mama, I have a surprise that will cheer you up.
Introducing Sunday Data Plan. Enjoy Sunday browsing. 200 Naira gets you a whopping 1.25 gigabytes. Glow Unlimited.
Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with hypo. Disinfect your home with hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Stay connected with your loved ones from wherever you are with the Airtel Home Broadband Device offer. Get up to 160 gigabyte free on Airtel routers with just 19,999 Naira and up to 55 gigabyte free on Airtel MiFis with 9,999 Naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Action. Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this.
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Staying at home is the most responsible thing to do. Please, learn a new skill. Be a better version of yourself. That's what I spend my time doing. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. I beg, make we sit down for house. I know some of us want to get back to socializing, but if you don't sit down for house, you know good feel happen. Please, stay safe and stay responsible.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون
The glorious month of Ramadan is here again, and we at Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society once again call on all faithful to observe the physical and social distancing directive of the government to curb the spread of COVID-19. Always wash your hands with soap and water, use hand sanitizers and face masks when necessary, and stay at home. Observe your obligatory salat, tarawih, tahajjud, du'as, and askars with your families from the comfort of your home. Stay at home, stay safe, stop the spread of COVID-19. This message is from Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society, from Allah to you, alike.
The Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has sympathized with President Muhammadu Buhari over the death of his Chief of Staff, Malang Abba Kyari, who died on Friday, the 17th of April 2020. In a statement issued on behalf of the board, management and staff of the bank, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa noted the patriotism exhibited by the late Malang Abba Kyari while serving his country and his immense contributions towards national development. He prayed for the repose of the soul of late Malang Abba Kyari and his family, the fortitude to bear the loss.
It's good to know you're still there. The control measures put in place at the borders following the federal government's restriction order have in no little way stemmed the importation of the coronavirus into the country from the waterways to the hinterlands. Officers and men of the Nigerian Immigration Service are not leaving anything to chance as they intensify surveillance around entry and exit points in Cross River State. Umar Basi Edet has the details.
Armed with a presidential order that all borders should remain closed, the Cross River State Command of the Nigeria Immigration Service has made the patrol of the borders as well as the hinterlands a daily exercise. Beyond enforcing security, the sensitization of the rural communities is also a duty carried out by the officers.
One of the things we noticed while we were on patrol in some of the communities was that they were not even aware that there's anything called coronavirus. That now made us to begin to constitute a task force in our own offices to tackle the problem of educating them, enlightening them.
Cross River State has a peculiar terrain, talking about the waterways and the creeks. And so to tackle emerging challenges, the Nigerian Immigration Service says it has deployed more personnel to the creeks to ensure that the borders are well secured.
We have 18 local governments in Cross River State, and every immigration officer, wherever you are, must get embedded within the structure of the state government.
The command had earlier arrested 13 persons, including 8 foreigners, for attempting to defy the federal government's restriction order. In Calabar, Umar Basidet, NTA News.
In the meantime, the magnitude at which COVID-19 is ravaging countries of the world calls for strengthening measures to stop its spread. Mohammed Nasir was at Ilela, the Nigerian-Niger border, to assess the situation.
Effect of COVID-19 pandemic has continued to be felt by people across the world in view of its rapid spread in some nations. With the first case of COVID-19 confirmed in Sokoto State, authorities have assured of strengthening measures to prevent its spread. And one of the measures is to restrict movement coming or going out of Sokoto State. This is Ilela border, which is a major entry point into Nigeria and Sokoto in particular. NTA crew spent over 2 hours here without seeing anybody coming or going out of the country through this border. This may not be unconnected to the enforcement of lockdown order. However, it appears to be very difficult to prevent people from Niger Republic coming into Nigeria due to the porous nature of the Ilela border. Multiple bush paths exist which people use to cross the border unchecked. This necessitated port health officials at the border to engage in mobile operations to track such people using these illegal routes.
But some people still they are rejecting the test because some is unknown to them, it's newly to them. So when they see it, they may think that yes, maybe you are giving them the coronavirus. That's what they are saying because of their level of mentality. But still, we are trying to enlighten them
Ilela community are the people that first come into contact with those who cross the border. What then are authorities doing to ensure their safety and that of Nigerians?
We are taking some measures for our bordering villages. There, whenever somebody wants to cross the border, we can measure him. If it's compulsive that he wants to cross the border, if not, we'll send him back.
Collective and sincere efforts by all the stakeholders are paramount to curtailing the spread of the dreaded pandemic. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
And Kano is back on the track of its lockdown after the grace of the people of the city enjoyed, which allowed them make purchases for Ramadan on the very day when the holy month of Ramadan began. This old religious city is quiet. Hamis Rogo has a situation report.
You definitely do not want to see the pictures of major streets of Kano. They are a far cry from their restless nature. This is, for instance, the area road. It is the biggest window to the city of Kano. It connects the city to all states in the country. They are always a traffic nightmare. In particular moments where there are events like the Ramadan is now, there can be a real trial. Massive influx of vehicles for various motives, including visit to its popular markets. See what Daria Road is today. Perhaps the biggest story is with main town Kano. The ancient city can mobilize 4 million people around its entire scope on a given day. It is amazing if there are 100 people on its streets now. This is the road emanating from Tarauni, leading to Government House Kano and to the Emir's Palace. You can make a census of the movements here without a cost to a paper. In the inner city, yes, the lockdown works, but it is liberal. In Kano, if you really like to appreciate the success of the lockdown, you really have to come to the Kano city itself. This is a place of more than 5 million people who that on a daily basis coming out to seek for livelihood. Many of them live by the day. And of course, if you want to know the success of it, you have to come to where they find the livelihood most. Their markets. Markets apart, people with small businesses in the inner city do put in a small show. There are much prayer movements of people too. Of course, there are also common pictures of commercial and public vehicles packed for good. Obedience to the lockdown by the people of Kano is good news because the state has high index cases of the COVID-19 infestation. The lockdown will help in curtailing the spread. Kano is also an area with high population density. Community transmission of COVID-19 can spell danger to the entire state. In Kano, Muhammad Hamis Rogo, NTA News.
Thank you, Hamis Rogo. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has emphasized the need for Nigerians not to relent in maintaining personal hygiene and other precautionary measures as advised by relevant authorities in the effort to containing the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. The First Lady stated this in a message during the presentation of palliatives to the FCT COVID-19 committee to support the government's effort in the fight against coronavirus. State House correspondent Aliu Kabil reports.
In continuation of our humanitarian activities towards the support of the government in containing the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic across Nigeria, the First Lady Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, through the Get Involved program under the Future Assured, presented medical palliatives to the COVID-19 committee of the Federal Capital Territory. The materials comprises beds, surgical masks, automatic dispensers as well as disposable gowns and overall, gloves, hand sanitizers and drugs, among other medical equipment. According to the National Coordinator of the Future Assured Program, Dr. Abdurrahman Muhammad Kamal, the gesture was meant to support the government in equipping the frontliners officials while discharging their duties in the fight against COVID-19.
We are here today to donate hospital beds, mattresses, bed linens, and personal protective equipments for our health workers. This is critical in view of the fact that we need to protect our healthcare workers because they need to be alive and well to be able to take care of the COVID-19 patients in this country.
Since the era of this beginning of this COVID-19, she has been working tirelessly to see that what she can do at her own level to support what the government are doing in terms of the fight against this COVID-19.
The Director Special Duties of the FCT Health Secretariat, Dr. Matthew Ashikene, who received the items on behalf of the FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello, expressed delight with the gesture and assured the First Lady of using the materials judiciously.
This donation today, including 100 beds with mattresses, pillows, personal protective equipment for the frontline health workers, as well as drugs and sanitizers that will help to protect all those who are involved in taking care of the patients. I think there can be no more meaningful support at this time. So we are really appreciative to the First Lady.
Similar gesture was extended to Bauchi and Gombe states with the hope of extending it to other states of the country affected by the virus. Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Amid COVID-19 lockdown and Ramadan fast, hundreds of indigent and vulnerable people in Yobe State are said to benefit from assorted food items donated by the Northeast Development Commission as part of its multi-dimensional humanitarian intervention to cushion the hardship faced by the targeted beneficiaries across the Northeast. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
The donation of the food items, according to the Northeast Development Commission, is part of a much bigger humanitarian intervention planned to be unveiled soon, meant to ameliorate the sufferings of the targeted beneficiaries distressed by the insurgency and COVID-19 lockdown.
Committee has been set up in the local government areas. The stakeholders in the local government are responsible for ensuring distribution at the local government level to the wards and to the units. And equally, all palliative measures that are being given to the state government, the same channel, routes of distribution will be followed, inshallah.
2 brand new ambulances and 50 hospital beds were also donated by the Commission for Yobe State Government to strengthen its preparedness, prevention and control efforts against COVID-19 and other emergencies.
One of the principal mandates of the Commission is to assist the IDPs and the vulnerable. COVID-19 has also ravaged this nation, and then we feel that people have lost a lot of time and money, so the little assistance will come from the NDC will be of help.
The donation of the food items came few weeks after the Commission handed over some medical equipment to the Yobe State COVID-19 Committee on Prevention and Control to fight the outbreak of coronavirus in the state. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Some residents in Jikawa border communities are crying out that unless drastic and urgent measures are taken by the authorities of Nigeria and Niger Republic, there may be possible spread of COVID-19 along borders of the two countries through the state. Correspondent Abdullahi Garbo bin Nkudu, on a special assignment from the area, has a situation report.
Migratory International Market, a border town with Niger Republic, at its full capacity before the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic. This is, however, Migratory Market presently following the ban order placed by Jigawa State Government on market days to control the spread of the virus. But the story does not end here. In what could be regarded as desperate move to transact their businesses, traders from the other side of Niger Republic have established another market within their territory since the ban does not affect their country, a situation that gives opportunity for Nigerian traders to cross border and intermingle, of course not observing all safety measures against the pandemic. Yes, government has closed down border, but some of the security operatives sympathize with us and allow us to go and earn our source of livelihood because of the level of poverty here.
Yes, I believe. Then why do you cross over to Niger Republic to do the markets there?
Because of what? Because of what? Poverty. Poverty. Because of poverty. This is the reason why some people travel to Niger to do a business. Because of getting some income that they can do.
One may wonder, what is the role of security operatives manning Nigerian border and enforcing the federal government policy on border closure? NTA News observes that there is an effort measuring the temperature of the traders at checkpoint, which many say is not enough, as the situation may not be the same in the other neighboring country. The border is also under lock and key, but due to the porous nature of the place, traders use footpaths, overwhelming the immigration officials.
We are afraid of those who are coming from other states passing crossing to the border.
These are some of the issues we took to the table of Jigawa State Task Force on COVID-19 control.
So federal government has deployed the necessary security personnel to, patrol those borders. But also, our committee also is working to support the work already federal government is doing to ensure that these borders are kept quite safe and people do not go to other countries and import disease to Nigeria.
Well, the keyword here as we leave Megatari border town is for the security agencies of the two countries of Nigeria and Niger Republic to work together towards fighting this pandemic coronavirus. And for the people in the area to believe that this coronavirus is real and is dangerous. From Megatari town in Jigawa State, Abdullahi Garba Buremakudu, NTA News.
Quite an alarming situation there. And as the federal government intensifies efforts to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the country, Binani Group of Companies has donated beds and mattresses worth more than 23 billion naira to the FCT administration to support the government in the fight against the deadly disease. Elizabeth Omori reports that the Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, took delivery of the items on behalf of the federal government.
The 100 beds and 100 mattresses are donations by the Binani Group of Companies as part of its corporate social responsibility to identify with the FCT administration in the nation's joint fight against coronavirus and by extension complements the efforts of the federal government in a fight against the disease. The gesture, the Group Managing Director of Binani Group of Companies says, is a demonstration of the organization's commitment to promote healthcare while supporting the government to curtail the spread of the deadly disease.
We want to particularly commend the FCT Minister and the State Minister together with their team, health officials at all levels, the contributions and the support by the federal government, state and local governments toward this fight. We are commending you enormously and we appreciate you.
The Minister of the FCT, who took delivery of the items, noted that the donation is timely as the Idu Isolation and Treatment Center is almost completed.
We assure you that this equipment that they have brought will go a long way. We now have a capacity very shortly with your contribution to be able to house over 400 patients here, which I think is quite significant.
The Group Managing Director of Binani Group of Companies, Senator Aminatu Dahiru Chiroma, representing Adamawa Central Senatorial Zone, says winning the war against coronavirus needs concerted efforts from all. As such, residents of the FCT must obey the stay-at-home directive of the federal government. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Time now to join Michael Olale in our Lagos studio for more reports. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Jumai. Muslim faithful in Lagos are coming to terms with the realities that it would not be business as usual during this year's Ramadan as they continue to comply with the lockdown directives. Khadijat Akambi reports that the Muslims are making use of other available platforms to enrich themselves spiritually.
1004 Central Mosque, Victoria Island, Lagos. During the Ramadan period, this mosque is usually a beehive of activities with a large turnout of Muslim faithful who are here to pray, listen to sermon, recite the glorious Quran, and what have you. However, it is a different story this time around because of the lockdown as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The mosques are empty and the high level of spiritual consciousness, which is usually demonstrated by the Muslim faithful during Ramadan, are not visible following the ban on congregational prayers, Ramadan lectures, and breaking of fasting groups, among other activities.
It is part of the Sunnah that to call prayer and said, okay, pray at home. That is Sallu fi buyutikum, pray in your houses. don't come to mosque.
They say that we should pray Friday prayer and stay home and pray Zuhuri. Then we follow the government because there is no option.
We exercise our social distance, so nobody pray in the mosque.
Some Muslim faithful have now resorted to watching Ramadan programs on the television and social media platforms. The Chief Imam of Lagos, Sheikh Sulaiman Abu Nola, called for fervent prayers for the nation to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic and also appeal to the well-to-do in the society to assist the less privileged.
This is a time for sober reflection. This is a time that we need to be closer to Allah. This is a time for sincere repentance, to call on Allah to help us heal our land. More so, we should contribute especially in terms of palliatives.
The Chief Imam enjoined the Muslim Ummah to continue to cooperate with government by playing their part to achieve desired result. In Lagos, Khadijat Akobi, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports after this break. Please stay tuned.
Glow Stay Home Data Plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Son, being good at something requires strength. It requires putting in more. That's why the new improved Bonvita is packed with vitality and a richer, creamier taste.
The coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we see the world,
the way we work and interact with each other.
COVID-19 affects all of us.
To defeat this human challenge and protect our great country, Nigeria, we must listen to our health professionals.
Stay home. Wash your hands or sanitize. If you have symptoms,
contact the health authorities immediately.
Join the private sector coalition against COVID-19
by supporting any way you can.
Nothing is too small to make a difference. We can do it because we're strong and resilient.
Let's fight to defend our motherland, Nigeria, by working together.
And stay alive together.
Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive together.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Cadbury Hot Chocolate 3-in-1, a delicious combination of rich cocoa and wholesome goodness of milk. Just add hot water to get an instant chocolatey treat. Cadbury Hot Chocolate 3-in-1. Just add hot water. Available in stores at 18 naira.
Picture this, a culinary experience across northern Nigeria with exceptional women sharing exciting recipes from their community. Picture some of your favorite celebrities cooking, sharing knowledge, and enjoying iftar right on your TV screen. From miyan gauta, dashishi, miyan kubewa, lele, and other iconic dishes, then spice to life with the flavor of Maggi. You can stop salivating now. I'm Jamila Lowell, and you're welcome to Maggie Diaries Season 3.
Relive on GoTV. Welcome to GoTV's Relive Channels. This is a world of sports where you can relive the best sports moments on GoTV.
She does! Oh, he's got it too! He's to the right. Oh, they've got another one! Oh, see! Really
sports on GoTV from our relive channels on SuperSport on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If we want to elect a new secretary, we fit
do one for WhatsApp or for Skype or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is not negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Welcome back. In continuation of his gesture towards cushioning the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on the people of Ogun State, former Governor Senator Ibukule Amosun, representing Ogun Central, has extended distribution of palliatives to frontliners in the fight against the pandemic. Lekon Ambode reports that over 6,000 bags of rice and other food items were distributed to about 45 identified groups in the state.
While the fierce war against COVID-19 ranges, their contributions as frontliners in the battlefield cannot go unnoticed because they are constantly on their duty posts. They are the medical practitioners, law enforcement agents, media, and few others who continue to discharge their responsibilities to the public under all circumstances. Senator Amosun felt this set of people are never remembered, thus extended his palliative to them in recognition and appreciation of their role as heroes, especially in this unusual era of COVID-19.
Police, army, state security services, pensioners, market women and men, NATA, lepers colony, NUJ, bushers, plank sellers, and so on and so forth. All segments of the society are going to be covered.
Their packages were delivered to them through their offices and received by their bosses with deep appreciation. Please convey to him the gratitude of this community and rest assured that the palliative under my watch will surely go round. Other identified groups, organizations and associations across the state also benefited from the gesture. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
We'll take another break. Don't go away.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. The security agencies have risen to the challenges posed by this unprecedented situation with gallantry, and I commend them. I urge them to continue to maintain utmost vigilance, firmness, as well as restraint in enforcing the restriction orders while not neglecting statutory security responsibilities.
And aggressive disease containment.
Now on lockdown.
It is one of the measures taken by the country.
How long is all this for? Scientists say that's the big question.
News that connects you globally, from the world to your home, with 4 leading news channels 24/7. Live breaking stories on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
News for now. Thanks for watching. I am Joma Yusuf. Good night.